But yeah, we're starting right on time to make sure that we get through this whole meeting. Want to welcome everyone who wants to either start their own squad or join a squad. Um, we have Melanie on here, and as many of you know, welcome Melanie. Uh, Melanie is one of the founding members of the FFT squad, and a few days ago they joined in, and the whole squad joined in, all 9 people, and they all went around in a circle explaining what FFT meant to them, explain how they got started, how they formed themselves, and kind of what it means to each one of them. And I see a lot of faces who are on that call on Tuesday, and the idea is that we've never, like, it wasn't our idea to create the FFT squad, it was Melanie's, and Melanie was able to do it and execute, and she created something magical. So as all of you are starting up and trying to figure out how to learn, how to keep each other accountable, I think it's only appropriate that Melanie joins in and she helps us help all of you form these types of squads and these types of relationships, because it transcends just learning how to code. There's a lot more that goes into it. So I wanna hand it over to Melanie. And Melanie, maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit and tell people about yourself and about FFT Squad for anyone who might have missed it.
Sure, I can do that. Hi, everybody. I'm Melanie Harris. My team also calls me Miss CEO Lady Savage. Everyone on my team has like a pseudo name, and we all have reasons for those names. On Twitter, I'm also Melanie's Journey. Background on me, I'm an MBA grad. I just graduated from my MBA back in December, and sorry about that. I spent some time in China and kind of got the taste of like the Asian Silicon Valley, which kind of piqued my interest into tech. And then I got back home to the States, to where I was working on my capstone right before graduating. And we built a mental health app. And I'm a non-technical background completely. I did a lot of HR and community outreach, a lot of social impact. And when I got to see like the tech side of building the app, it kind of like really sparked something in me, because I'm a creative by nature. I've been an artist for years, sketching, painting, sculpting. But this is another form of like creation, and like really piqued my interest. And I'm like, as someone who's passionate about social impact and who does community outreach, I was like, tech, this is going to broaden my reach. I'm going to jump into tech. So that's why I jumped into tech, and I'm here today. And then as far as FFT is concerned, it was formed, I keep saying out of desperation, because it was a point where I was coding for only 1 month, and I really realized how hard it was for a non-technical person, and I really needed help. So I reached out to, Career Karma, but I'm a very independent person, so I was not looking for a team at first. I was just like, I have $1,000. Can you get me a tutor that's going to ride me through this, like a solo tutor, because I want to start now. And their advice instead was to, utilize resources, which was both the Career Karma app and social media, to form a team and just save my money. And that was the best way to go. So I did that. And we weren't even FFT at that point. We were more so just, I want to say in between 16 and 20 members that we had that responded to that post. But we noticed over time that not everyone was on the same wavelength, and not everyone was as committed. So, we held each other's hand at first and tried to get everyone to commit, but they didn't. So certain people were weeded out, and we got down to 9. And it was those 9 who had the same vision. We were quite, diverse. So it wasn't like we were going for we clicked on diversity. No, we were quite different, but all of our vision was the same, and we all had the same level of commitment. And we formed FFT9, and we've been that way ever since. So that's the backstory. I do have a few words of advice for you guys that I wanted to kind of touch on before I turn it back over to Timur. And one thing that I want to give you the advice on to start, and I think it's one reason how we were able to become so tight so quickly. A lot of times when you're forming a team, you form for like maybe a month or a school semester, or you're forming for one project. So you're not really looking to ask those long-term goal questions. You're looking more so who's the most skilled, because I need the most skilled on my team. I want the person who says that they can be the most committed and have the most time to use or most time to spend on this project or whatever. And that's generally what we look for. But I think what we fail to realize is that regardless if the team is short-term or long-term, in order to have a powerful team, you have to pick as if you're picking for the long term. So that's checking individuals' adaptability, checking their commitment, checking a slew of other things, how well they communicate, how open-minded they are. There is a saying that I like, and I don't know if it's by Steve Jobs, I think, don't quote me on it, but it goes something along the lines of, how does it go? The bigger the dream, the more important the team. And when you think about, from our point of view, how we're all breaking into tech, which is something new, this is a huge career path for all of us, and how important or how huge that is means that it's very important. So your team needs to be very important to you. And in order to get a very important team, you have to ask those right questions to form something that's going to be long-term. Because if you have people on your team that aren't completely committed and aren't compatible, your team's going to last for maybe like a month. Then morale's going to go down and you're going to lose, that team or all that you might have put a lot into, but they didn't. And it's going to be for nothing. And you're going to be starting over. We avoided that by making sure we knew one another and making sure we're asking the right questions. There are some golden rules that I want you guys to really think about once you're talking about your team and forming it. A lot of the time in the last meeting we spoke on open-mindedness and how important that is to one another, but it goes beyond just being open to different cultures and things like that. Because a lot of times on your team, you might have that one or two people that are way on the left while everyone else is on the right. And a lot of times that person on the left, although they think very different than the rest of the team, they have a lot to contribute. So it's great that you make sure that that person is also part of your team and meet in the middle. Because, that one or two people whose personalities are just so different, and you're like, that person's kind of strange, but they're on our team, so we're going to carry them. No, really listen to that person, because that person brings that dynamic mixture to the team that you really need. And a lot of times talking about this, you'll have also individuals on your team that are more quiet, and we tend to let them be quiet because we think they get it, or that's just them being introverted. But just because a person's introverted doesn't mean that they don't have a lot to give to your team. So it's best to try to build those individuals up, maybe making them host a meeting or a topic that you all going to cover. Make sure you bring them out of that shell and bring them up. Because not only are you learning from a person who's quiet, but you're strengthening your team. Something that I touched on a lot in the last meeting was you're as strong as your weakest link. So if you have introverts on your team, you don't know if they're strong or weak because they're not talking. So you need to bring them out of their shell, then bring them up, then your team gets stronger. So other than that, I won't talk too long. A couple other things that are most important. I touched on diversity in your team, not just by race or age, or really look at the personalities. Keep that team very diverse, because everyone, no matter where they are on that spectrum, is going to bring something positive to your team that's going to help you in the long run. Trust is the big factor. Open up. FFT cries together, you know what I mean? We ride together for everything. So trust your team. If you can't trust every member on your team, something's wrong with your team. Something's wrong with that person that you can't trust. So you have to figure out if they fit or they don't. So other than that, accountability, we've touched on that a lot. Everybody's accountable on my team. I don't care what the topic is. If we're leading a meeting, don't just look at the person that founded that meeting to lead it. Everybody's talks. We're all accountable coming up with the subject matter. We're all accountable for everything. That's just the way it is. And I think it makes everyone want to be on that team, because everyone's contributing, everyone's being heard, and everyone wants to be heard. I don't care if you're an introvert, everybody wants to be heard. So make sure they're heard. Other than that, and open communication, we've talked on that, how important communication is. That's a no-brainer. Define your goals though, and define them in the beginning. Whether it's, hey, we need to all get through this boot camp and then I'm probably not going to see you again. That's fine, because boot camps are long. The majority of them are pretty long, so make sure that goal is defined and everyone agrees with it. But if you guys are trying to push for something further than just a boot camp, maybe your founder of your next big thing is in that room, make sure that's defined, even if it's just a potential. Make sure it's defined. It's like, all right, here are, for FFT, for example, maybe there's an app that we think we have a create this idea that everyone kind of feels like, oh, I'm passionate about that too. All right, well, let's define it as possibly one of the things we can do. So that's one of the goals. So make sure you know the goals of this team is this plus that plus that. Just make sure it's all defined. And let me see if there's something. Oh, so one last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is, and this is definitely going to boost your culture within your group, is to not just celebrate the big things, but also celebrate those like micro milestones, which are very important. You know, find something to keep everyone in your team happy about. A micro milestone might be you guys are maybe doing a Udemy course together and you guys finished one chapter of it and it was hard. Celebrate that. Just find reasons to celebrate to keep that morale high. Trust me, it's so much better than waiting for, I don't know, 6 months we all passed our boot camp. It's time to celebrate. No, there's so many things in between to celebrate to keep everyone happy, and keep everyone wanting to come to your meetings, or keep everyone wanting to be on your team. Like FFT, my team ain't going nowhere. Like they all want to be there. I don't even care. Like they complain about being on the East Coast and 3 hours off and we're still talking and they want to sleep. They may complain, but they still want to be in the team. So let them complain. Like they're going to be there, you know? So just find those things that make your team stronger. I'll stop babbling. That's all I really wanted to say. Unless you guys have questions for me before you guys start, I'll turn it back over.
Yeah, Melanie, great job describing this. And yeah, let's people unmute yourself and let's give Melanie a little applause because she did an amazing job.
Yeah, boy.
The bigger the dream, the bigger the team.
Yeah.
I love that line.
By the way, Ruben's on the call. Ruben, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, no, I think to add on to what Melanie said, I think to her point, as far as like being the bigger the dream, the more important the team. I think that's key. I think something that's also important to understand is like you all are going to be spending a lot of time with each other, so making sure that you all like each other. So you could have a bunch of different personalities together that clash. Obviously, like positive energy is like one of the core things that we have here, but like you don't forget the importance of laughing and just like being around each other and enjoying each other's time, talking about things that aren't work, like Game of Thrones or something like that. So like as you put these people together, you know, so it's like super. You see that energy? Like that's the type of energy I don't want on my team. You see what I mean? Like that type of stuff is gonna keep me going because that morale being high is super, super, super important. I think the other thing that I think is important to keep in mind is your location. I know that like we are going to be bringing people from location, but as Career Karma gets bigger, you might want to meet up in person at some point and visit. I know Greg has flown out from Philly to ATL to meet with different people, and Melanie's here in San Francisco, close to us. Matter of fact, like we haven't met each other, but like we'll start being able to take advantage of the bridging of the online and the offline, which will become more and more important. And I think something else to recognize is your best friends are going to come through the acquisition of skills together that are difficult. And me, Arthur, and Timur also came together very organically. Like we just happened to be working, and then we didn't know that we were going to start a company focused on this. We knew that we were going to start something, and it just kind of happened on its own. But we were all passionate about something. We enjoyed each other, and really trust that process and spend a lot of time getting to know each other on a non-transactional level, and not always talking about work. And then take those elements from the things or the ideas that come up from those different conversations and add them to your projects. And it's going to be very interesting. So I think, I can't really add much more to what Melanie said. I'm just really proud and excited to see this coming together because, we're going to see hundreds, if not thousands of new circles that are going to be like FFT coming up this year. And we're working on some pretty big projects and I'm excited to be here. So congrats everybody for showing up.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, folks.
What's going on?
So are we going to do like a Career Karma summit where like everybody gets to like finally meet and greet?
I like it. I put it on the agenda. We'll make it happen.
Word.
Absolutely.
Jacob Javits, like it needs to get crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure the folks who've been with Career Karma for the last 6 months, you've probably seen how much bigger we've gotten, our apps, our meetings on Twitter, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And even us having this meeting today, just us listening to you. And I know, Juanita, you're always like, where's my squad at, right? Because you post messages and no one responds to you, and we're listening to you. And one of the reasons I think why is that, like, you don't just get thrown into a squad. You gotta find your own squad. You gotta either join a squad that you belong to, or organize and create the squad that you want to see. And so,
yeah, with it, let's establish that. So shout out to you, Melanie, for kicking that off. You know, real shout out to you. I've been trying to establish that on the East Coast over here. And, you know, it's really sad to acknowledge and accept that a lot of our own people are not even interested in this. You know, like, they're not even interested in taking on something unfamiliar.
Yep.
You know,
That's okay. I mean, I think the best way to do it is to lead by example. And right now, people are focused on more technical roles, and the squads are going to be based off of schools, different personalities and skill sets. But eventually, it's going to be like engineer, a salesperson, and a data analyst all in the squad. So, like, as we start expanding skill sets, it's going to be very interesting. And the way I think about it a lot is like pickup basketball, where when in the beginning, when you all are all preparing, you all are shooting around, you guys are, you know, playing 21, like doing a few games, but eventually you'll be like, oh yeah, I like how you play. Are we like, you know, form start playing in the church league at first, and then you go to college together, and then you get recruited for the NBA. So that's kind of like how we're thinking about it, and trying to like literally productize how it happens in real life.
I think I've been thinking on those same lines as well, because I've just been connecting with everyone. I'm not being selective. I feel like we're all in the same pot. You know, we're all brewing at the same time, but eventually, you know, we all become. I noticed that, like, through Twitter. Twitter's been a very cool place to like really see who's progressing and who's active. Like, shout out to C Rose Code, our guy Craig.
There's Asia on here. Asia, where you at? So there's a lot of people that we see online, and it's amazing to see how supportive people are. I want to bring this meeting back to I want to kind of pull us back, because we have about 40 minutes left, and I want to discuss about the structure for the remaining 40 minutes, because the same way how like basketball players get drafted onto teams, how football players get drafted. Today is our first official draft day. And the way it's gonna play out is we're gonna try something, right? It's not gonna. We can't guarantee you it's gonna.
Let me get my notes. Hold on.
But we have 29 people on this call, and so we have the people, right? So there's no way it's not gonna work, right? We just need to figure out how do we match people, how do we create the structure for you to get to know one another. And for the next 40 minutes, I think the first half, for the next 20 minutes, it would be great to hear from some of the folks who already started to form their initial teams. Can you raise your hand if you started forming and speaking to people about your initial team? So Jacane, Jamal, who else?
I talked to Jonathan already. That was pretty much the only person I talked to. I know you put me in that group, but I think sometimes it's hard to talk to people on the Career Karma app, because the push notifications don't always come through on the phone.
Yeah. So I think for some folks, because we've been hearing this a lot, initially when you first downloaded, for some folks it might have prompted you to enable them. If you disable them initially, you don't get notifications, but you can easily turn them on in your settings. So I would just say check your phone settings, not the app settings, to make sure your notifications are working. But if that doesn't work, just let me or Arthur know, and we'll get on it. But I want to see from the people who started forming their squads. I know Lauren's on here, Jacane, Jamal. Do you want to take a stab at maybe describing a little bit about your squad, how many people you have so far? The idea is that the people who started forming their initial squads will just take turns kind of giving you an overview of what their squad is all about and realize that they're still forming it. And then at the end of the meeting, I'm going to share URLs to links in our app, so people can join the draft group, and you can ask them questions. You can figure out about next steps. What Melanie was saying on the meeting on Tuesday is once she formed her initial group, then they kind of went through this interview process. It wasn't necessarily like an official interview, but it was important for Melanie to make sure that her group jammed with people who wanted to be part of it. And so the idea is that the folks who already started forming their initial groups, they'll tell you all about their groups now, and then you can reach out to them and see if you can join it. So Jamal or J.K. and Lauren, you want to start off and share a little bit about your groups?
Yeah. I reached out to Nicole and Brandy, and it's only right now, it's only 3 of us, but we may pick up Ian because he's like really super excited about joining our group because he don't have nobody. But I don't know how far that's gonna go. But right now it's 3 people strong, me and Brandy and Nicole, and we're all from different places. I'm from Mississippi, from Florida, but I live in Mississippi right now. Brandy and them, they live in different states. And I know Brandy, she's doing A-Day right now. Alabama girl. We both Southerners. I'm a little Southern, but
that's dope. That's
like all kind of like click really fast on CK, but I mean, kind of because we all have different backgrounds and everything like that, but we're all like really close, and we got really close really fast in the 21-day challenge, which was really odd, but that's how it progressed. And they're going to different schools than me. Me and I think Brandy, we both started out in Lambert, but now we're all going to I believe Flatiron. And so, but I'm still going to Lambert, and I'm trying Lambert and Flatiron. But I mean, that's how we're doing so far. But we're all like, if we all did decide if we all get stuck on anything, we're all gonna call each other and try to help each other on whatever we get stuck on. But if it's a particular situation that we don't know how to do it or whatever, we're gonna reach out to Tamar or Arthur or Mr. Rubin or somebody else collectively on PK and say, hey, well, we're stuck on something we really don't understand, and can you please help us or assist us, in whatever we're stuck on, because this is just something that's over our head and over our realm, and that's just how we want to tackle it.
Awesome, Lauren.
I want to just add one thing to that, Lauren, and how you said that you're going to reach out to Arthur and Timur and Ruben. Don't be afraid to reach out to other teams.
We said that too. We're going to, try to reach out to other people that have, the knowledge that we don't have. Because I know either Brandy or Nicole has reached out to Elliot a couple times to try to get help with JavaScript, and they haven't no response. So
I think she was also talking about like the FFT squad as well. FFT squad is deep.
Right. There's us and all of these other squads that are forming. They're gonna have something that you don't have, regardless of this being these smaller ecosystems. We're all part of CK, so reach out to any of your family. And sometimes I'll tell you what we do in my group when we really don't know someone or know about something. We reach out to someone that we know have the skills. Like Jerome, he's like the face of Lambda School. He's like the honorary member of FFT, and we all have his information. So it's like either we are texting, emailing, calling, hey, Jerome, do you mind coming to our group and teach us about this? Or do you want to just sit in and tell us what we can do better? Like, we have connections. So build your connections, and utilize them when you get stuck.
I love Papa's work. He's awesome. So, and I love you too. So I will totally tell my people to please reach out to you, because I know Nicole like pretty much love FFT and everything like that, but I think they're kind of scared to like reach out to you guys. So I will, further tell them to, if they have any questions, to reach out to you guys. But I don't think they know you guys' Twitter or know your guys' name per se.
We have a Twitter page, so look for FFT Squad on Twitter. Like, I make sure we have that. We're all in the app. Like, we don't bite. Reach out to us. You know how this saying goes: closed mouths don't get fed. Don't be afraid.
I think it's the other is too is they want to like find you guys on KC and they couldn't find you. So
Okay.
that's another reason why they were like, we're having issues.
So we'll make sure that everyone has the names for the FFT squad, and at least for like this meeting, what we'll do is like at the end of it, we want to make sure everyone has links and next steps. So everyone who may not get to speak or ask the questions, realize that this is only the beginning. Everyone's questions will be answered. But Lauren did a great job explaining like how her group is forming. It's still in progress of being formed. And what we'll do is, I'm not sure if Lauren came up with a name yet. It might be still in the process.
No, we haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
No,
so let's, for the people who are listening, let's go and let's call Lauren's team Squad A for now. And I'm going to create a magic link for Lauren's group that I'll share at the end of the call. And so if you're interested in finding out more about Lauren's group and how to join, you'll be able to click on the link and join Lauren. So take down a note of the groups that you're interested in. Ruben, go ahead.
Yeah, so as team will start sharing that link, something that I was wondering, now that you have Squad A, have you started thinking about any like initiation type things? Like, so you know how FFT has their own different like bylaws. Like, what's the kind of vibe that you want that people to know about your group, that you want people to join? Like, if you're this type of person, join here.
We have been talking a lot about that, and we just like, we're all about positivity, no negativity, and no drama. And we did have a lot more things that we were talking about and touching over, but we had it all wrote down. We all had individual things that we had wrote down, but the main thing that we had that we were talking about was no positivity, all positivity, no negativity, and just like everybody be their own person, and that we were all basically going to help each other on everything and anything, and just be there for each other and hold each other accountable.
That's beautiful. I love it. Love it. Okay, cool. Solid culture. Okay, you want to go to the next group?
Yeah, let's do the next group. Who wants to go next?
And by the way, while you all are sharing these things, just know that we're listening, because we're going to be building features to make this easy and not just over Zoom calls. So this is helpful.
Elizabeth, what's up? How's it going? Shout out to FFT. Say your nickname, Elizabeth.
Which one? No, yeah, Lady Boom. In Career Karma, I'm Lizzie E. And then Lady Boom from FFT. And I just changed my Twitter handle, so it's now it's Boomaliciously.
Love it.
That's dope. Cool. So who wants to take it? Go next.
I'll go next. I got a question before I start. Caleb, yes. I noticed he was in here. Two things. Is it your birthday, brother?
It is not. So what they did, all right, so like they like call your transplant day your new birthday. So mine was April 12th, which was this past Friday. Mm-hmm. I grew up, I had, sickle cell anemia. And my sister, donated stem cells for me. So I just had a stem cell transplant. So I'm still like really new in this process right now. Mm-hmm. I have to be out here for I'll be in this hospital for the next 30 days or so. But my actual birthday's in June. So,
happy transplant day.
That's why I asked. I just wanted to say happy birthday.
Caleb, we're sending you our prayers. Keep going. Don't stop.
Positive vibes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Question number 2. Is the balloon in the middle representation of anything? Because I'm Team Iron Man. I just gotta ask.
Yes, it is. Two things, right? I call the transplant process itself the super soldier serum.
Okay.
I call it that. I've been a huge Marvel fan.
Same.
That's always kind of been my kind of thing. Marvel, comic books, anime type stuff like that. So Like,
we right here, man. We right here. Trust me.
I'm already seeing this, man. That'd be cool. Like,
Best
I love it.
but
I'm a huge
like
Marvel
that's
guy
kind of
as
like
well.
one thing, you know.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
a
call
DC
like the
guy.
whole process, you know, me getting like the super soldier serum, and like just me becoming a better version of myself, and like that's what that balloon represents to me, you know.
So we got Iron Man, and Captain America in the building. I see you.
Iron Man, baby. Team Iron Man.
I'm Wolverine and Deadpool combined. I heard somebody say he comments in here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel the Aquaman vibe. So.
So Caleb, can we start calling you Captain America? Do you mind if that's your name?
I like it.
Captain America. I like it. Okay. Well, so to get back to the squad topic. So I did start talking to a few people. I got 3 people in my squad too. We covered the basics. We went over our timing. 2 of the 3, pretty much me being one of them, are open to pretty much any time frame. We're available most days. We're both looking into full time for whatever program we enroll in. The 3rd member has a little bit of a tighter schedule for weekdays. So we're trying to figure out how we can kind of structure group meetings around, you know, everyone's availability. So that's kind of where I think we wanted to start. I don't know where those 2 are currently, but yeah, I definitely wanted to get them in here. But we really were looking towards, you know, who'd just be interested in starting a group, not necessarily looking for anybody in specific. I definitely reached out. I messaged like a bunch of people on the app individually. I literally went one by one for hours one day, just messaging people like, hey. So actually, I will say my one thing was I went for about me's, because I feel like that just showed a little bit more effort. People that didn't. If you have an about me and I can read it and I can see, you know, something about you, even if it's not necessarily something that aligns with everything I like, hey, you're putting in the effort. So I definitely looked at that. I was messaging pretty much everybody I saw. Said, hey, you know, what's going on? How's your Career Karma adventure going so far? Tried to get some interesting groups. Some people didn't reply. Some people did. One of the people that did, that's now in my group, one of the other 3 members, same thing. He was a big anime guy. He was looking into graphic design, all things that I definitely was like, you know, that's great. I definitely think those are interesting things to talk about. And that's a good place to start. So why not? Hey, you interested in the group? Yeah, awesome. Me and him have the same schedule. We're available anytime. I was hoping to add, I want diversity, because I do want different opinions. I want outlooks from men, women, all races, colors, whatever. I want to hear everybody's opinion as opposed to mine. I don't want everybody to align with everything I say. I think the contrast is good. And so far, like I said, we got our core 3 looking to expand. That's really it so far.
So if you want to join Squad B, if you're feeling like a superhero, shout out to you can. You got the links in there. Love it.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I don't have a lot to say. We don't have a squad name, but we formed a squad sometime in the last week or so, like around Monday, and then we just started talking. When I say we, I meant to say Joelle. I hope I'm saying her name right. Maybe she's on the call. Hello?
Yeah, I'm on the call. Joelle.
Did I say that right? Did I pronounce your name?
Joelle.
Okay. And we just decided to Zoom chat just to see where our heads was at, and more people accumulated. I think we have about 6 in our group right now, and not to say that there can't be any more people in our group, but I got to the point to where I didn't want to like just keep inviting because I know groups were forming, and just like we were talking about earlier. Feel free to reach out to other groups, because I mean I know I'm going to do that. If maybe our group has a problem, I might reach out to somebody else and say, hey, what do you think about this? So be prepared for me direct messaging you if I do.
Yeah,
I'm just going to enjoy the journey. Like everyone in our group is positive. That's what we want to promote. We didn't have like an initiation. We might start that up. But hey, I'm here. I love y'all.
Yeah, man. I love the conversation about the groups by groups. Just like there's a bunch of teams. There's like the NBA Association. There's Marvel versus Capcom. Like there's gonna be battles and stuff like that. But at the same time, we all family. We're all gonna be supporting each other. So that's Squad C.
Also, just one more thing to point out. From the very beginning, when I started the app, I just kept talking to people, and there could have been like maybe 20 or 30 people that didn't reach out to me, and I just kept going. You know, you start accumulating people. It's like a ball. It's rolling, and it starts getting bigger and bigger, and don't stop. Keep talking to more people.
I think that's important.
Jay Coder? Are you Jay Coder on Career Karma?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Juanita. We've been talking as well.
Yeah, I talk to everybody.
I think that's important to point out, because whenever you all get to the job search, you are going to be reaching out to a bunch of people that aren't going to respond. But what's most important is the momentum. And so starting that now, that's part of the reason why we encourage messaging now. Because even me, when I'm fundraising for Career Karma, like, you're not going to always get yes. You're not always going to get a response. So you just got to keep moving forward. Okay, cool. I did want to ask a question from Joel, I believe, because like, Joel, did you want to say anything about the group or how you feel about the group or anything?
Like Jamal mentioned, we just sort of spoke about our experiences. I think in the very first call, what we spent a lot of time was going over what our experiences, what we're trying to get out of the group, what we're trying to get out of our career. Ultimately, like for example, one of the members, Danielle, wants to move to Mexico and spend some time with his wife's home country. So it's a bit of things. It's a bit like the FFT quad, where everyone has their specific goal in mind, but we also know a little bit of information about everyone else so that we can motivate each other. So that's ultimately what I want the group to be, sort of. And one of the things that we're also looking to do is we have equal part members going to Flatiron and Lambda. So maybe be a support. Let's say if someone, while they're in their journey, is going through a problem, then maybe everyone can come together and work on that person's particular coding issue at the moment, and then rotate that. We have not come full circle with like what we want everything to be in terms of schedule, but those are the things that we wanted to have that are most important.
Yeah, that reminds me of Archer and Timo's journey when, you know, one was doing Hack Reactor, the other one was doing App Academy. They would share each other's curriculum, support each other. I think that's actually going to be a superpower of being in Career Karma, is you'll be able to take advantage of mentors from other boot camps and other graduates and other people that are employed that are going to be able to help you, that provide resources that your own individual schools won't be able to provide.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So we got, so far, just to recap, we got Lawrence Squad A, and I shared the link in the chat. We got Jacane's Squad B, and Jamal Squad C.
I think I got one now too. I think I established one.
So that's what
I didn't even know it.
So that's what I want to also bring up, is that realize that these squads are still in the genesis, like the birth of the squad. So it's like an born yet, and so feel like don't jump to create a name if you only have 2 or 3 people. You want to make sure that once you kind of create your like 7 people in the group, then you start like creating the name based on the identity of the group, right? Because it has to represent everyone. And so, like, Juanita, did you want to jump in and say that you also have a squad?
True. I've been in touch with Lizzie. Shout out to Lizzie. We've been corresponding back and forth. And Natasha, we've been corresponding back and forth. I think she's about to jump on a call. Shout out to my nephew who's actually on the call right now, Scotty.
What up?
We've actually been like, you know, dealing with the solo learn and getting on the site, the Lambda, and like I've been kind of crash coursing him because he's so smart, so that way he could reteach it back to me, because, you know, he's just been that guy in my life that, you know, kind of retrains me. And I'm older than him, but, you know, we utilize one another. We bounce things off. He's my media manager for my radio show. And he does a lot of media editing, amongst other things that we do together, business wise. But I didn't even realize that he and I created a squad. So we have different brand names, so we can use any brand name at this point. We also have a nonprofit organization, he and I together. So this coding journey is something that we're going to utilize to advance our lives. Not only that, change our environment, and stay connected to this journey, with you guys here. This is significant and it's powerful. So I like to be establishing group Squad D over here on the East Coast. I like to take the lead on a lot of things. I'm very useful, resourceful, organized. I'm a dedicated individual, and I get a lot of things done. So if anybody wants to holler at me or add me to a squad, I'm down.
Cool. So I'm about to share the link to Juanita's squad. And as you're starting to, as people are listening in, like, don't be afraid to see it as a process to also, don't just jump into the group that sounds the coolest, or the group that's the loudest, or the group that, like, try to speak to multiple groups. So you got to make sure that you jam with those people. And until you actually, we'd say the same thing when you're picking a school or picking a job, make sure that you get to know, it's like being in a family. You want to make sure that you get to know the fam, and it's not just about them liking you, it's also about you liking them. And so I'm sharing the link to Juanita's squad, Squad D, and I respect Juanita for you to jumping in and taking charge with your cousin or with your nephew. I want to see if there's anyone else who's been working on creating their own squad, who wants to share.
I say a squad because I also have my daughter coding as well. She's 12, and I lead by example. So everything that I got going on, she doing it on her own. So shout out to my daughter who codes as well.
Shout out to her.
She learning it too.
It's amazing. I know. It's amazing. I think it's important to reflect. It's hard not to get emotional watching it because you all are stepping out of your comfort zone to learn how to code, which is hard. You all are forming teams and taking leadership roles at the same time, which a lot of people struggle with, even though people have been working for years. This is very, very, very big. So really, I don't think you understand what you all are doing right now.
Hey, Ruben, Tim Worker, I've mentioned something.
Go ahead, Craig.
Hey, when Melanie was talking earlier about some people introverts and everybody's still got something to say. Like, I noticed there's 35 people in on this meeting, right? And we've heard from maybe a third, maybe half. So I know, like me, I've been sitting here just kind of listening and everything. There are people in here right now listening to this that they want to be involved. Maybe they're shy. Maybe they don't want to step on anybody's toes, whatever. But just keep in mind, when you get a group going with other people, you might be the one asking the questions. You might be the one needing the help. But you'll get to the point where you're the one that's going to have the answers, because a lot of people know that some of the best way of learning something is when you can teach other people. And when you start learning more and get to the point that you can share that with other people, it solidifies that in your own brain that you actually know it well enough to explain it to somebody. And you'll surprise yourself. You'll explain something to try to help somebody and then realize, like, holy crap, I just explained it. I must actually know it. So don't be shy about putting yourself forward to be in one of these groups. I mean, you wouldn't be sitting here this evening right now if you weren't interested somewhat in being in a group. So try not to sit back and just lurk. Some people will watch this kind of stuff and they're either shy or afraid to embarrass themselves like I just did. So I just wanted to say that.
Craig, are you starting your own group?
Shout out to you, Greg.
That was bars right there.
I have not considered that, but
for all the introverts, that was a major move right there.
That was important.
I would be interested if I'm on East Coast. I work full time Monday through Friday. If there's anybody that, as far as schedule wise, where weekends and evenings, more or less East Coast time would work better for you.
Greg, you respond you right now, Greg. Greg, not Greg. We got a Greg.
I get
and
called
Craig.
Greg a lot. Don't worry about it. I get called
Greg
Greg all the time.
and Craig.
Wait.
Got you.
Can I coattail off that?
Yeah, Jacane, go ahead.
Yeah, so just to kind of coattail off of what he's saying, for everybody who is, interested, don't want to speak up, if you are interested in any of the groups, like for me, for example, you talk to me, get you in a group chat with my members. You can talk to us more privately. Anybody who doesn't want to be in this big setting, because I'm not one for, talking to a lot of people either. But this, like I said, it's something you just got to learn to get used to, get accustomed to. I mean, I was doing public speaking in high school. I didn't really get report cards. So I had to do presentations in front of classrooms with teachers and principals, other parents. So I got used to this at a young age. So this to me is easy, but I do want everybody else, anybody interested, definitely message individual level. And, just like Craig said, be ready to do this for somebody else, because at some point we all will. I'm sure Mel didn't expect to start out, to go from where she started to here, but she's going to get tired of me because I'm going to be messaging her a lot.
I got a lot of energy, don't worry about it.
I know Melanie
down there too.
Melanie tweeted something about documenting your journey. I don't know if you all know, but Craig has a YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and he's also teaching other people to document their stories as well. And all of you all are going to be, sharing your stories either through Twitter or to each other inside of the group. But if you all are interested in media, and I'm just putting you out there because we talked about this personally, Craig can teach you the game about YouTube, and you can follow his example. And he's featuring a lot of people on his channel. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanna kind of piggyback on what Jacane said. Since there's 35 of you in this meeting, right? Everyone can benefit from being in a squad. Some people like learning on your own, and I think there's a few people. I think Elizabeth, Lizzie, you were saying that on Tuesday that you're someone who just wants to be on your own, yet you're part of FFT and you get enormous amount of value out of it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you can share a few words of how you feel and what this group means to you.
Well, as we said Tuesday, FFT, that's my family. Like, we're family now. Like we say, you fuck with us, you stuck with us. But yeah, I told you I'm a super introvert. So I understand just wanting to be alone and being by yourself all the time, because I do learn best by myself. But I also find that when you have to explain concepts to other people, it helps you to, it's test whether or not you really understand what you're talking about, or if you understand what you're learning. If you have somebody else that you can help them through a problem, then you learn it better too yourself. So I love my group because even though like our group is demanding, it's not like overwhelming. Even for me, like super loner introvert person. So I just use that opportunity to stretch my own boundaries and to stretch myself just so. Plus, that's the whole interview process. The whole interview process when you're being a software engineer is you have to go talk to people. You have to network. You have to get to know people. You have to go do in-person interviews, and you have to solve problems in real time. So I might as well just get used to it now. So they're helping me with that a lot, for real. Even like these calls help me a lot. So,
yeah. For
Can
sure.
I back off of that real quick, just like 1 minute? Lady Boom touched on something good, and it's for all the introverts in this room. How she said, you're going to interview. These are skills you need. So all of those introverts that are afraid to talk right now, use this as your source to, if you feel you're going to mess up. There's 35 people in this room. If you want to practice public speaking, do it now. Because when you get out on the field, they're going to expect you to have that, and that's how you're going to get promoted. So practice that in this safe setting. So don't be afraid to speak now. Now is the time for that practice to get you prepared for your next step.
Yeah. And I want to also say that like Ruben, Archer, and we didn't start out speaking in front of 35 people. And like, we had to learn this. I remember, have people heard about Toastmasters?
Yeah.
It's like this, like, there's a lot of groups across the United States. Like I used to go to those and I used to be like shy and not speaking in front of people, but then you like follow your calling and then you kind of push yourself and getting on the first call. It's scary. And then after you do 100 calls, you just get used to it. And then like, it's all about doing things, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And then you look back and kind of laugh at it, at how your fears were completely irrational. So definitely keep pushing yourself outside the comfort zone. We have about 5 minutes left, so I wanna give anyone else a chance to anyone else who either has an idea for their squad or has been working on a squad to share a little bit about what they're doing. I think Aisha and Tiffany, you guys have a group too, right?
How you doing? How's everybody doing? I guess I'll go next.
Hold on, let's let Aisha go. Hold on a sec. Aisha, were you gonna say something? Tiffany and Aisha?
Are you saying Aisha or
Yes.
Aisha?
Oh, Aisha. Is it
Tiffany. This is Tiffany speaking.
how's it going, Tiffany?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi. I'm doing great. I am actually an introvert. When it comes to reading and encouragement, if something opens up, and I'm always willing to help people. So I actually created a group about 2 days ago, maybe 3, but it's called Code Samaritans, because Code Paid Samaritans, because, you know, I feel like I want to be a Samaritan, as in when I finish and I get a job, the actually point of the journey is to want to encourage others to take place and participate. So I do that a lot, and I plan to continue. So that's where the name came from. And
I love that name.
Thank you. One thing I actually do when it comes to trying to recruit for the group, when, you know, I message people that I've conversated with, and I ask, you know, I actually created a group and, you know, give them a briefing. You know, the goal is for everybody to be respectful to everybody's mind and their, you know, their great mind and their opinions, and encourage each other and teach each other what we are learning. So then I ask them, do they want to join? You know, just out of respect. And when they say they're going to join, I'll let them know. I put them in the group. They come in the group. I actually emphasize that if they know other people, please feel free to let them join, you know, because the more great minds, the more experience we have on the journey. So I'm very excited about this particular journey. I promise you.
Squad
thing.
Yeah. So Squad E in the building. That's the Code Samaritan group. And I love the long-term vision of focusing on what you're gonna do after you get a job. I think that's super important, because what we're doing is not just getting people into boot camps and training people. We trying to change people and teach others, like Craig was talking about before. So that's awesome that you already got that mindset. So if you got that mindset, follow up with Tiffany. I think Marcus was trying to say something too.
Yeah, Marcus.
How y'all doing? Everybody well in there?
Mm-hmm.
What up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to introduce myself as well. I think this idea is actually very, very forward-thinking, something that we definitely need. As you were saying earlier, especially in our community, something just being able to reach out and give that different outlook on being able to become a different person. One of the reasons why I did so is because I've been looking in this area as well. I've dealt with media a lot, helping build other brands, so on and so forth. And I've helped a lot of other people in regards to reaching their goals and their dreams. Never ever really, in all honesty, put energy into myself like I should have. But this has been a part of my goal. So I've been teaching myself a lot of Adobe Suite, so Illustrator, things of that nature, because like I said, I deal in the music side. So with that being the case, me understanding how cultures, I guess, grow, especially in the aspect of when you look at the most flourishing cities within the States, they're usually places that are deeply connected with entertainment and culture. So being able to add this aspect to the technology side is why I personally decided that I felt it was a need to understand coding, because that's where our world is going. Everything's becoming automated. So definitely dealing with people on this end, this type of community, getting away from, I guess, from a more socialistic aspect pertaining to like Facebook, and being more social in regards to actually the endeavors of what people are trying to reach. This is definitely something that's in that place of being able to change the mindsets of where I think go. I'm an introvert, extrovert, more so I observe before speaking. But I'm definitely not a shy person or a non-talkative person. I definitely do talk a lot. But yeah, I just wanted to reach out. Like I said, looking to not just only join teams, but as things progress, create something revolving around a common purpose, a common goal. But of course, I'm one of the people to not really force anything and just kind of allow it to take its course and take time and build on its own. And then from there, you'll have the core people around you that you need for whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever your goal or whatever avenue venture you're trying to actually proceed to. So yeah, that's really what I keep at the time.
I think what Marcus just said is super powerful, especially about the media piece and how it influences our communities. You know, when I started thinking about Squad F and the name for you, I was like, we should call his group Dreamville, because I was just getting J. Cole vibes the whole time. And then also because, like, you know, what you were talking about related to culture, like what Nipsey was talking about a lot, rest in peace, about like using influencing, using radio. Juanita and I talk about this a lot to inspire people to do the same thing. And so if you are tapped into media, make sure you bring in these different influencers, making sure that we can get the message out to the right people so they know about what you're building within Career Karma, so we continue leveling people up. Because the majority of people are actually reached through radio in our culture. So if you already have those ties, tell them about your squad as well.
Yeah, and we have 2 minutes left. But Marcus, since you've been speaking, I created a group for you as well, Squad F. And the link is in the chat, so join it. It's okay if it's just you. You're going to meet a lot of incredible people who will reach out to you, who believe in the same vision. So definitely join in Marcus as well. Since we have only a few minutes left, what I also did, I know we didn't get to everyone's questions, but I created a general squad group in the Career Karma app. So that's the group that everyone should just join anyways, because we're going to talk about how do you create bylaws. We're going to talk about next meetings. People can ask questions. People can announce their own groups in that main group. So I'm posting right now all of the groups. So make sure you click on the links now before the meeting ends, and join the general draft group. If there's something you missed in this meeting, also reach out to me through our app, through the Career Karma app. Just find Timur or Ruben or Archer and just hit us up. This is just the beginning. This meeting is already amazing. We got 34 people on, and so many people are going to be building things together. No longer people are going to be coding in isolation or on their own. So let's give a big shout out to everyone who's still on the call. This is truly something incredible and amazing and special. And thanks, Melanie, for joining in and helping us build this. Thanks, FFT, Elizabeth, Ben. Go ahead. Thanks for being on here. Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank everybody today for being my CK family, and then thank everybody for giving me so much courage to do what I had to do today at church. It wasn't my church, it was my friend's church, but I had to do a women's conference for my business. I was super nervous, but because I've been in this family, y'all gave me so much energy and so much compassion to get up in front of a whole bunch of people and speak for the first time. And I was super nervous, but I prayed about it. Super scared to do. But thank you so much for helping me through that, to do a public speaking announcement for a group of people. And y'all gave me a little bit of courage to do that. Just with and everything. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Hey, shout out to Group C, Joel, Mary, Dia, Tosh, Daniel, everybody else. We doing it.
Let's do it. Let's do it all. I have to jump on the next meeting right now because there's people waiting in basic training. But great seeing you, everyone. I'll
make sure you tweet about the squad. About this. We're building squads, so that's going to get more people curious about the squad. All right.
All right. Karma app too, in the general group or the squad draft group. Everybody put your Twitter handles so you can follow each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put your Twitter handle on your bio as well. It's easier so people can find each other's Twitter.
All right, team. Have a great Sunday. Success on Monday starts on Sunday. Let's build something cool together.
And
everyone.
Timor, you're gonna resend us these links, right? Because I'm clicking on it and it got me trying to sign into something over here.
You gotta click it on your mobile phone, but I'll try to resend it to everyone in the app too. But make sure to join the group from your mobile device.
I'm not on the mobile. I'm on the computer.
We're gonna send it in the app.
We'll make sure you guys get it. Don't worry. I'll follow. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, y'all.